Mr. Zamora, and I am here to explain 7.U.10. This is the last exercise for this subject, like you, all right? So we have this, we have a graph and we have a table, and now with these two things we need to complete this equation, all right? So let's hit learn with an example to explain in an easier way how we're going to do it. All right, so we have this graph and it starts, well, it kind of starts here in 9 and it goes up and also it goes down because it can continue to this direction, and it also can continue to this direction if we where to make this graph bigger. All right, so we're going to start here in this point 9 y, all right, and it's 0 x. Okay, remember that we already talked about how to read coordinates, and okay, it is pretty simple. Like when x, remember the horizontal line is the x-axis and the vertical line is the y-axis. Okay, when when x equals 0, y equals 9. When x equals 1, y equals 10, and so on. All right, let me print the screen, go to paint. So we have a question right here. So when x equals 2, we know that y equals 11. When x equals 5, we follow this line. We know that y equals 14. When x equals 6, that is our question. When x equals 6, this number, what is the value of y? So we just follow the line and we follow the line right here. Okay, so the answer is 15, right? Whoops. Oh, sorry. This is not a problem, it's just an example. It's learn with an example. I wanted to write 15 here. So now I know that 6 equals 15. 6 doesn't, when x equals 6, y is going to be 15. All right, so when y equals 7, we follow this line, y equals 16. Okay, what is the difference between these two numbers? What is the difference between 2 and 11? Right, it is 9. What is the difference between 5 and 14? 9. What is the difference between 6 and 15? The number that we are supposed to write right here. It's 9. What is the difference between 7 and 16? It is also 9. So there is a difference of 9. So we're going to write this equation starting with y. So as you can see, the difference is 15 right here. So the coordinates of this point, the coordinate of this point is 6, 15. So now we know that if we add 9 to the value of x, which is 2, is going to be the value of y. Okay, so 5 plus 9 equals 14. So this is our equation, but instead of writing the value of x like 2, 5, 6, or 7, we're going to write the variable that is right here, x. So y equals x plus, and the difference that it is between these two variables. Not always we're going to add. Sometimes we have to multiply, sometimes we have to divide, sometimes we have to multiply and add, or divide and add, or combined operations. All right, so let's go back to our original problem. We have this right here. We have this line and it doesn't hit the 0, but it starts here in 1 and it continues this way. All right, so when x equals 2, y equals right here 3. All right, so we write number 3. When x equals 6, y equals 7, and so on. All right, so we're going to find out what is the difference between x and y. What is the difference between 2 and 3? 1. 6 and 7, 1. 8 and 9, 1. 11 and 12, 1. So there is a difference of always 1. So remember, when we write our equation, we need to write the variable, not the value of the variable, plus the difference. So always y is going to be x plus 1, because x plus 1, 2 plus 1 equals 3, 6 plus 1 equals 7, and so on. All right, let's submit it. Brilliant, I know I'm brilliant. Okay, now when x equals 4, y equals 6. When x equals 6, y equals 8. All right, so let's skip this one. So when x equals 17, we go up 17, y equals 19. Have you seen the difference? So yeah, the difference in this case is 2. All right, so y equals x plus 2. Okay, any questions so far? If you have any question, let me know via private message. All right, let's do this one. When x equals 2, y equals 8. When x equals 7, y equals 13. All right, what is the difference in this case? Yeah, the difference is 6. So y equals x plus 6. Brilliant. All right, okay, let's see this one. When x equals 5, y equals 3. When x equals 6, y equals 4. When x equals 7, y equals 5. So there is a difference again of 2. But in this case, y is less than x. So it is not more than x, it is less than x. So how less? So we are going to do, we are going to subtract in this case, because it's not bigger than, it's fewer than. Okay, it is less than. So this is our answer, and great job. So this is the same. So remember, when we start our line on the 0 above, we're going to add. When we start a line on the 0 to the right, we're going to subtract. Okay, it's because the y is less than the x. Okay, so what do we do if we start in 8 and we want to end in 5? We need to subtract. Okay, I am going to pause this video and see if I find any different kind of problem right here. Okay, I am going to solve 2 more. Okay, here one of the keys to solve this pretty easy is okay, let me go to Paint, start a new one, and it is right here. The key is kind of in here, like in this point. Okay, the number 8. So because it starts here, we're going to subtract. If it started over here, we need to add. Okay, so we need to subtract always this number, the number 8. So 10 minus 8 equals 2, right? Okay, 12 minus 8 equals 4, and 13 minus 8 equals 5. Okay, so that's going to be our answer. So always minus 8, so our equation will be something like this. Okay, so we use those values. It is 2, 4, and 5, 2, 4, and 5, and our equation is going to be x minus 8. We hit the button, and that's it. Okay, this is a little bit more complicated, but it's not that complicated. All right, so when x equals 0, y equals 0. All right, because they are both in the 0. Okay, so the next coordinate is when x equals 1, y equals 5, which is right here. When x equals 3, y equals 15. All right, and the last one, when x equals 4, we continue, we follow this line, y equals 20. Do you see any pattern? You see it? Okay, when x equals 0, y equals 0. When x equals 1, y equals 1. 5, and so on. Okay, so what is the pattern right here? You see 1 and 5, 3 and 15, 4 and 20. Yeah, it's like we need to multiply this times 5 to get to this point. 3 times 5 equals 15. 4 times 20 4 times 5 equals 20. Okay, let me print the screen. And so we need to write our equation right here. So x, okay, well, some people feel like kind of tempted to write equations something like this. Okay, x times 5. Remember, in algebra we don't use this. We use parentheses, the dot in the middle of the line, or we also use parentheses. Okay, yeah, we can do something like this or something like this. But also in algebra, remember that when we put when we write a constant, like a number like this, together with a variable, first let's try with a constant, with a number, and it already implies multiplication. So this is the same as this, okay? But we prefer to use this, okay? This is better. Okay, so that's going to be our answer. Y equals 5x. Okay, and this is it. This is going to be the last one, because you cannot solve more than 10. It will be our year 11. And see you in the next video. Bye bye.